I listen to my bishops. So. Yes. Hello, and I did time myself, so hopefully I'll be brief but important information for you. Again, my name is Helen Osman, and I'm honored to serve as the president of Cygnus World. It's a great honor for me to be here today representing Cygnus alongside Peter Montenvichenchai, our General Secretary from Bangkok, and of course Father Walter, who has been a great ally and colleague all these years. I want to say that I am encouraged that Cygnus's mission statement aligns with your Assembly's theme, Christ, source of hope, reconciliation, and peace. Indeed, our mission statement, Cygnus's, is to engage with media professionals and support Catholic communicators to help transform our cultures in the light of the gospel by promoting human dignity, justice, and reconciliation. I think Bishop Emmanuel already gave you an entree into what Cygnus's presence looks like in Africa, but I wanted to also let you know that we are the only association of professional communicators with canonical statutes. We serve the Church as primarily lay faithful in nearly 100 countries throughout the world. Our members are journalists, academics, artists, and influencers. We work in all media, radio, television, digital, print, in the classrooms, and on the stage. While we represent a vast variety of expertise and professions, we welcome, along with you, I believe, the Holy Father's invitation to embrace truth as the most radical and powerful antidote to this virus of fake news. The falsehoods, the lies, the gossip, the misinformation which we face in our work as Catholic communicators. The Holy Father presents to us a challenge to discern and embrace everything that encourages communion and promotes goodness, and to confront that which tends to isolate, divide, and destroy. I believe this is good and holy work. It is also good and hard work that is essential. I think Bishop Emmanuel pointed out some of the challenges. It takes dedication and resources. We must not consider communication something that is extravagant or superfluous, irrelevant. Do not, I beg you, look at communications as a mother considers dessert, something to be done when you have extra money or if it's for a special occasion. Rather, I ask that we consider communications to be as essential as clean water is for a healthy body. Strong and robust communications are essential for a healthy church. We all know what it looks like when we don't have a strong communications. We are blessed that the Office for the Propagation of the Faith also sees communications as essential. Even in these trying times, they have been willing to work with us in the past few years to develop a new grant application only for communication projects overseen by Cygnus members. We believe this will assist you, the bishops of Africa, in building a stronger network of Catholic communications. We actually have a letter with the details of this new grant application for each bishop here, and even for some of you to take with you for your fellow bishops. And we're ready to help you complete the grant application even before we leave Kigali. Even if you have not heard of Cygnus until right now, we can assist you in building stronger communications in your diocese. We are standing literally here ready to help. And you can't miss Peter now because he's wearing the same dress as Father Kofi. So you can remember. We won't let him take it off. But if you don't have time this week, do not worry. You can email me at president president@cygnus.net. That's president@cygnus.net. And I will be sure we provide you with assistance. Time is of the essence, though, for this grant application. We need to have it finished by early September, in less than 6 weeks. Next year, God willing, Cygnus's World Congress will be right here in Kigali, as Father Kofi announced yesterday. We hope to bring our members from every region together to Africa to strengthen our witness as Catholic communicators. This includes our members in the Pacific Islands and Australia, Asia, America, Europe, and of course, all of Africa and Madagascar. We know we are better when we are together, when we can lean on one another, learn from one another, practice co-responsibility in using our gifts and our vocations. You, bishops, as the ordained, we as communicators. I end with noting that I may or may not be the first grandmother to address this honorable body of Secam. But I must tell you, the reason I stand before you today to ask for your partnership is not for my sake or even for my fellow Cygnus members. It is for the sake of my 13 grandchildren. Thank you. Because I know if we do not have a strong communication network, the Church will not be there for them. May our patron, St. Archbishop Oscar Romero, whose prophetic courage as a communicator is an example to all of us, be present to you these days and bring you peace, hope, and courage. God bless you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you so much. I can say almost every diocese within the African continent has benefited in one way or the other from Cygnus, and particularly Secam, through the connection of Bishop Badejo for the past 10 years, a lot has been done through Cygnus. So the next will be Radio Maria, and I invite Reverend Father Richard Coker to please come forward.
Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, brothers and sisters, my name is Father Richard Kocher. I come from Germany, and I'm the director of Radio Horeb in Germany. Here you can see my parish. I'm also parish priest, and I have seen the birth of the radio 30 years ago, and now as it is major, with 70 employees and more than 1,000 volunteers. As I have been also president for 29 years, I think I know how the Radio Maria is working. And we are here to bring you an offer. We have heard in the letter of invitation of Cardinal Ambongo that there is a great need of peace in a context of wars and conflicts. And I'm sure that Radio Maria can contribute a lot for peace. It's known in Africa as the voice of peace. And I am convinced that Radio Maria, and it has proved in history, can change the culture of a nation. We have seen it in Germany, we have seen it in many other nations. It has the power to change culture according to the values of the gospel. Here you can see me, I got a cassola with a red heart from African priests. They think my heart is beating African. Everything what I say you will find on this QR code. The history of our radio is not so important for you, but only one thing: we had any difficulty possible, imaginable to overcome in Germany. We got now license for cable, we got now satellite license, only no FM, only stupid people could start Radio Maria in Germany. And after 16 years, we got a national-wide license, digital license, covering the whole nation. And then the explosion started. And especially, it happened in 2016, During the marathon in Germany takes only 3 days. And the people are very generous in Germany. The last 5 years, they gave us more than 20 million euro, and nearly every euro came to Africa. And in 2016, with this money, we bought a satellite uplink and a radio studio in Kibeo. And from then on, the message of Our Lady of Kibeo spread all over our nation, and even more. And we also pay every year a satellite, the cost of a satellite, so that all nations of Africa can be united of Radio Maria and can change informations. And this is very important. And now you see the distribution of Radio Maria in the world on this map. And there is one nation which is really a miracle. What is this nation? One nation which is nearly impossible to come in is China. With official permission of the Communist Party, we could enter in China, and the result was an explosion. Hundreds, thousands, even millions of people were linking up, were listening Radio Maria in China, and the Communist Party realized what they had done, and they shut it down. They shut it down. Please pray. Every day I pray that we can restart in China again. You see, miracles happen. And now the next thing is our coverage in Africa. And a bishop of Uganda said we have to have concrete targets. And our target in Germany is, and the Cardinal Ombongo was two months ago in the headquarters of our radio, he was astonished to hear that. Our target is that within the next 5 years, all nations sub-Sahara get Radio Maria, if they want it. We only come if bishops want it, if bishops come to us and say, we want the radio, otherwise we won't come. The radio always is living from free donations of the people. We don't accept commercial advertisement. This was very hard in the beginning in Germany, but even in difficult periods, we did not make advertisement because we don't want that after Mass, a person says, please buy a Coke or buy a sandwich. I think this does not fit with the program. And here you can see a good coverage, not so good, and non-coverage. And therefore, in Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, South Africa are the targets of the next year, but not only those ones. Also Northern, it's difficult to come here because they are Muslim nations, but you can even start, like in Germany, with social media, via internet. It's possible. Just start, and you will see it will go forward. Like in Nigeria, there are many priests, archbishops. Here I see Kai from Kaduna. Please rise up here. And Manoso Ndagozi was also in Balderschwang. 4 cardinals have been in Germany with us, and the president is Muslim. And nevertheless, he signed, and from this on, the radio is spreading all over Nigeria. And it's also spreading in Tanzania. 90% of the nation are covered. It's a very good presence, for example, in Malawi, and also Democratic Republic of Congo. And I promised the Cardinal Ombongo when he was in Balderschwang, now we have 16 dioceses of 84, and we have the material for next 5 dioceses. And we won't stop until we have 100% coverage in Republic of Congo, so that you can, when you speak at the microphones of Radio Maria, you can be heard from the Atlantic Ocean until Bukavu and Goma. And we put on air the program director. I met him 2 days ago of Bukavu, and he was telling us of the suffering of the people here. And it's important because we made direct intervention of the people, of your people in these suffering countries. And they were telling what's going on in this nation. And the people and our listeners were crying, hearing what's going on in this situation. And therefore they are able to give money to pray. And also, I hope that also our politicians hear it and they are open their heart. Now we go on, and the radio is not founded because men wanted it to do. The former president was Emanuele Ferrario, many of them of you know it, and he got a prophetic inspiration by Our Lady. Take this in your hand, 1987, spread it all over the world, and it will never lack of finances. And therefore, it's an inspiration of Our Lady. And Pope Francis was totally convinced that we can change the way of history. It can and must be changed. We believe that the biblical vision of a redeemed world, as seen by the prophets, is not a mere utopia, but an achievable reality. We can change the way of history. And we also believe that it only needs committed people to take this vision in reality. And I have a word according to which I live. If things are not possible, then make them possible. If things are not possible, then make them possible. Struggle until you have reached your aim. And this way is myrrh, incense, and donations. 1 minute, I'm still resting, okay? You can read it in here. This is the 3 gifts of the wise men who came from East. And we believe that prayer, donations, and sacrifice are the way to bring forward the things. The charism of Radio Maria are 5 points. Providence of God, doctrine of church, Mary, missionary spirituality, and volunteers. You can see it more detailed when you have it here. And I conclude. We are not representatives of the world family of Radio Maria. This is Jean-Paul Kayura. Please stand up. He is here behind. If you want any help, that National Radio comes to you, go to him. And what we need, last words from you, is we need good priests, a good program director. This is a decisive person. He has to be able to lead a team, to be a good speaker, to inspire the listeners, and we need a ground, we need frequencies, and I think we can help you in financial terms to bring forward the radio. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Richard. Round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. So we have finished with communication, CEPAC, Signe, Radio Maria. Now we are going to give some time to some of our partner agencies to come and speak, goodwill message, whatever kind of message. So we have 7 of them here on the list. We begin with Miserio, the President, Reverend Father Andreas Frick.
Eminences, Excellences, I've never seen 5 minutes passing so fast. I start with that what I should finish with. Even if we have a decreasing situation of financial opportunities, we will be faithful to our mission. I will speak about Miserio and these 67 years of collaboration with so many countries, so many dioceses in your continent. It's a great pleasure for me to participate in the 20th General Assembly of Secam here in Kigali. I would like to thank you very much for the invitation and convey warm greetings from my colleagues of Miserio's Africa and Middle East Department. Since July 24, I started my service as General Director of the German Catholic Bishops' Organization for Development Cooperation. Shortly after taking up my post as Director General, I had the opportunity to meet a small delegation from the Secam Secretariat in Aachen, together with the heads of Miserio's Africa and Middle East Department. So thank you very much for being in a very close communication. I was delighted also to meet Secam's President, Cardinal Ambongo, and Monsignor Lucio Muandula, the Vice President, in person in Rome in October last year. During my studies in Rome, I got to know the Universal Church in all its different dimensions, centered in one place. The management of the diocesan seminary and in my role as Vicar General for more than 9 years, the most important questions was, how is evangelization possible today and in the future for us as a church in the face of major social and ecclesiastical upheavals in Germany? And last but not least, the Diocese of Aachen went through a painful and very formative period during which it had to deal with cases, older cases of abuse and establish safeguarding regulations. Now, I am working for Miserio in my new but also familiar context. My first trip took me last year to Kenya, where I met some remarkable project partners. I was able to get to know the wide range of issues in the countries dealing with, the attempt to rediscover and appreciate the fertility of your soil, which guarantees basic nutrition and life. Then there is the work for and with young people who deserve all our attention. They are our future. The list goes on to include structural networking and social initiatives in precarious neighborhoods and parts of large cities. Only local partners can provide this kind of impetus. For more than 60 years, Miserio has been committed to a dignified life for all. In his founding speech, the former Cardinal of Cologne, Joseph Cardinal Frings, gave Miserio a motto that still shapes our work today: standing with the poor, appealing to the conscience of the powerful. Together with partners, and in this very moment it's more than 1,700 partners in 83 countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, Miserio continues to stand alongside the vulnerable and marginalized, in line with the preferential option for the poor, and works with its partners' organizations to raise awareness among those in power and contribute to changing global conditions. Together with partner organizations from the church and from civil society, Miserio wants to work towards a social, ecological transformation that allows for greater global justice. To this end, Miserio works with its partner organizations on relevant issues, taking into account specific context. This also includes raising awareness about the fact that Germany and Europe have to take responsibility for their contribution to unjust, exploitative relationships with countries in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. You mentioned it in this afternoon as well. The 20th General Assembly of Secam is taking place in a special location. You know more about it, but just to say, for the people living in the region, including our partners, this situation is linked with all the beauty of the country and the people to permanent violations of human dignity, hunger, oppression, displacement, recurring violence, rape, lack of protection, denial of everyday life. In view of the immeasurable suffering, even those providing aid in the region are reaching their limits. It is precisely in this difficult situation that the Church must be ready to act as a mediator and bridge builder to see and document violations and to pave the way for healing and reconciliation. The late Pope Francis was the first Pope from the global South in the history of the Catholic Church. The first time he traveled to the African continent, he visited the Central African Republic. Further travels included Madagascar, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and South Sudan. Around the world, Pope Francis consistently advocated for the dignity of impoverished and marginalized people. You know all this better than me. We are happy to be partners in the networking with all the networkings, and among them Secam, ITSIZE as an organization from Catholic organizations in North America, Europe, and Miserio are working close together with Pope Leo. The Catholic Church is again headed by a Latin American Pope with US origin. And his first address, Pope Leo put a particular stress on peace, an important sign in these times of rising challenges, surging conflicts, and increasing fragility, which is taking out a lot of money which is needed to be helpful to the poor in the world. The social, political, and economical situation of many countries, not only in Africa, is increasingly marked by multiple crises and challenges on the one hand, and the dissolution of the former international order on the other, which is a big problem for humanity. In many places, the strong advance their individual interests. Democracies are on the retreat. Anti-democratic authoritarian regimes are gaining ground worldwide. Civic spaces shrinking. Cases of war and oppression increase. Government funds are increasingly used for armament instead of peace and development. In a time when many people fear that surviving and coexisting might become impossible on our earth, it is the more important that the Church, together with so many people in civil society, join forces to promote holistic human development. Building on the African Ubuntu philosophy, I am because you are, and we are because you are. We should work together to recognize all people with their equal dignity and rights, hear the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor and marginalized, and promote an integral ecology. Take a stand for sustainable peace and justice by building bridges through dialogue and encounters that unite us. We must recognize that big words call for many smaller and bigger deeds. Finally, I would like to say a few words on the development of financial resources in our country. Unfortunately, Miserio's financial means are currently decreasing. Our work is funded by private donations as well as church and public funds. Since 2023, the German government has been cutting down the funds from taxes revenues that are made available to the churches for development cooperation purposes. In addition, donations from German parishes have also been decreasing. Against this backdrop, we have to reduce Miserio's financial commitments. It is thus all the more important that you support fundraising efforts in your local churches, and there are a lot of efforts, we know. Miserio is already proactively raising this topic in our dialogue with partners. At the same time, we want to reassure you that even with reduced financial means, Miserio will continue to cooperate with the Church and civil society in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Especially, our cooperation is not merely on our financial nature. We will continue to cooperate well and in a future-oriented way. The world needs the Catholic Church as a network reaching everywhere together. On behalf of Miserio, I thank you for the opportunity to speak before you. Together we should stand by the poor, independent of their ethnicity, gender and religion, and work together a better life for all with justice, peace, and integrity of creation. Cooperating with the Church and civil society in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, we will continue to be at the core of Miserio's mandate. In a time of increasing challenges, it is all the more important to firmly hold onto the gospel for all people and to trust to the message of Jesus of peace for everybody. We are the visible people of God in all peoples, nations and tribes. The least we as church and civil society actors can do is to remain at the side of the poor and marginalized, to jointly decry injustices and to create room for dialogue, to strengthen justice and peace, however difficult is the situation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you. So when he said finally, I thought that you'll just conclude. Thank you so much for taking extra time. So we now invite Reverend Father Begnadek, the president of Missio Aachen.
Okay, I hope I need only 2 minutes. Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, Reverend Fathers, Sisters and Brothers, it is an honor and a joy for me to speak before you today at this plenary assembly of Secam. For almost 6 years now, I have been serving as a president of Missio Aachen and of Kindermission Sternsinger, carol singers. We are part of the Pontifical Mission Societies and subordinated to the Dicastery of Evangelization. We supporting the local churches in Africa, Asia and Oceania, and for a long time, Secam has been an important and valued partner in our mission. The partnership between Secam and Missio Aachen is strong and fruitful. Last year, for example, we are happy to support a major conference in Lomé on the empowerment of African women religious organized by Secam. Around 120 sisters from 30 African countries discussed the financial situation of especially local congregations, as well as leadership formation and safeguarding. I am very glad that some sisters from this conference are also here with us today. Empowering women religious will greatly benefit the church in Africa because in many places it is the sisters who shape the daily life of the church, isn't it? The church in Africa continues to be a source of hope for the universal church. We see the joy and the strength of your communities. We see vocations to the priesthood and religious life. We see lay people, especially women and youth, playing active roles in building the church and transforming societies. Africa is not only receiving the gospel, Africa is offering it to the world with a unique voice and deep faith. As a priest from Europe, I'm impressed and deeply humbled by the vitality of the church in Africa and its witness of faith. In the partnership between Secam and Missio Aachen, two principles are more important than ever today: synodality and subsidiarity. We must walk together as one church, listening to each other and discerning in communion. This has become especially clear over the past 2 years to the Synod of Synodality. At the same time, we must trust and give greater responsibility to local leaders and communities who know the situation and needs firsthand. This is the principle of subsidiarity, and it's one we seek to foster in our work at Missio Aachen. Dear members of Secam, as you shape your vision for the coming years, I want to assure you of our deep solidarity. The Church in Africa is a gift to the world, and together we will continue to proclaim Christ, the source of hope, reconciliation, and peace. I thank you all for the important work you are doing for the Church and the people in Africa. May God bless you. Maybe three minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let us give him extra clap for managing his time very well. Right, thank you so much. So the next speaker will be from CAFOT, Madam Christine Allen. You're welcome.
Thank you. Your Eminences, Excellencies, dignitaries, brothers and sisters in Christ. On behalf of CAFOD, the development agency of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of England and Wales, and member of the Global Caritas family, I bring my deep appreciation on being able to join you for the occasion of Secam's 20th Plenary Assembly. It's a very special honour to be able to be present with you. As a woman leading a church agency, I appreciate your welcome and your commitment to a synodal church. The value of collaboration with lay people, women religious, and young people in advancing synodality cannot be overstated, and you've talked about it today. Our voices, witness, and leadership are vital to building a listening and inclusive church that truly reflects the richness and resilience of the African church family of God. CAFOD is proud and pleased to support Secam and bishops' conferences where we can. In this global Jubilee year, where we're called to be pilgrims of hope, the many challenges facing the continent of Africa give us much to reflect on, as we heard this morning, including that of our own role in colonialism and exploitation. You give God glory by your witness to justice and solidarity in the face of so many difficult situations reflected in the title of this plenary. The prophetic presence of the church is a sign of hope to so many. CAFOD is pleased to have worked with many Secam members at the parish, diocesan, national and regional conference levels over the years. We're proud that we can support Secam to make a small contribution in supporting the church across Africa and Madagascar in its work for a more sustainable and equitable world, especially continuing to support the Reinforcing the Church Commitment project, which focuses on peace building, good governance, environment, and climate change. In this Jubilee year, we brought to communities in England and Wales an icon, an Ethiopian icon, to remind the community in England and Wales that this is a global Jubilee. And I have to say to my colleagues in Ethiopia, a big thanks, because it's been a real hit and it's been really helpful for so many people to reflect on. And it's humbling to be able to facilitate those thousands of people across England and Wales to be in solidarity with yourselves and with the church around the world as they support CAFOD with their time, their money, and of course, their prayer. There are many crises in the world aside from peace, and there are two particular issues that we are focusing on this year. In the 10 years since Laudato Si', the Church's voice on climate justice has grown, and across all levels, from the local communities to bishops' conferences and, of course, the Vatican. It's so vital that the Church's voice continues to be heard, and CAFOD has given financial support to Secam on climate work through the project. The second issue is that issue of systemic change through tackling unsustainable debt. Many of you do not need to be told about the impact of unsustainable and unfair debt on your countries. More than 50 countries in the world are currently in debt distress, where they spend more on repaying debt than on health and education services, with more than 30 of those countries in Africa. Tackling this indebtedness has also the potential to release funds to tackle climate adaptation. And we're pleased to be part of the global Caritas campaign to turn debt into hope. The late Pope Francis commissioned a group of experts who have produced a powerful report on the Jubilee debt crisis, and there are African members of the Commission who I hope that you will be working with. And one real opportunity this year for Africa, of course, is the presidency of the G20 in South Africa. It's an important moment in the year, and I know that the South African Catholic Bishops' Conference are highlighting the issue of debt in particular, and Caritas Africa are playing a pivotal role in taking that African-wide advocacy approach under the leadership of Monsignor Pierre Chibambo. CAFOD is proud to be part of that global Caritas family and is a powerful local expression of love and solidarity from the Catholic community in England and Wales to you in Secam as we journey together. As others have said, the financial situation across Europe is very challenging, but we're pleased to continue to support Secam, and in particular the work with religious women and young people. And I know my amazing colleague Muila Mulumbe is known to many of you. Thank you again for welcoming me to your celebrations, and be assured of our continued prayers and support. I'm leaving for South Sudan early on Sunday, so won't be with you on that day. But on behalf of all at CAFOD and the Bishops' Conference of England and Wales, we send you our continued prayers and best wishes for the rest of your assembly and for your work on that roadmap. What an inspiring vision you have for the next 25 years. God bless you all.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you. You know, we always have this common saying in Nigeria, what men can do, women can do better. So thank you so much. So we now invite CRS, Mr. Jude Marie, to make his presentation.
Thank you. Eminences, Excellencies, brothers and sisters, it's a great honor for me, on behalf of the President and the entire family of Catholic Relief Services, to bring you this message of solidarity and fraternity. As you know, CRS, Catholic Relief Services, we are the humanitarian and development assistance instrument of your sister Episcopal Conference of the United States of America. In other words, we are the Caritas of the USA. In this capacity, we are happy to work hand in hand with the Catholic Church in Africa through Secam, through the several regional, sub-regional associations, national Episcopal conferences, as well as most of the dioceses, to translate the love and the charity to our brothers and sisters in Africa who are in need. This is a mission and a mandate that our Lord Jesus Christ has entrusted to us to bear witness to his love wherever it is needed. Eminences, Excellencies, the entire CRS family feels honored not only by your invitation to this plenary assembly, but also by the very encouraging and fraternal message that His Eminence Fridolin Cardinal Ambongo had, on behalf of the Secam, sent to comfort us during the turbulent period we are experiencing with the new orientation of the U.S. government foreign assistance policy. These new orientations have significantly impacted organizations like us that benefited from U.S. government subsidies. However, thanks to your prayers, those of many other participants in our programs, thanks to the support of the faithful Catholics in the United States and men and women of goodwill, our organization, CRS, will continue to fulfill its part in accomplishing our joint mission of fostering the integral human development for our people, contributing to a more just, a more united, and a more peaceful world. In response to the message received from Secam, our President reaffirmed our convergence of views with those of Secam and reaffirmed our unconditional attachment to the values of the Catholic social teaching and our firm commitment to always deliver quality services to all our brothers and sisters in humanity. On behalf of CRS, I would like to confirm that the African continent is and will remain our top priority, on the top of our priorities. We assure you that we will continue within the limits of available means to support the church on the continent through Secam, as well as the regional and national ramification with which we have developed very good collaboration. Eminences, Excellencies, we continue to look for better framework, better strategies to strengthen our existing partnership and wish in this Jubilee year to remain in communion with the Catholic Church in Africa to accompany you in the realization of your programs. In reiterating the joy of our contribution and participation to this Secam plenary assembly, under the theme Christ, source of hope, reconciliation, and peace, I once again want to renew the solidarity of CRS to the Catholic Church in Africa. May the Holy Spirit of God grant your works to bear many fruits in Africa and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jude. The next is the Archdiocese of Cologne, Mr. Nadim Man.
Eminences, Excellencies, Reverend Fathers and Sisters, dear colleagues and friends, I hope that after such a long day you have another power to listen to one more statement. My name is Nadim Amman. It's not written properly in the program, so I just correct it here. It's Amman. I work for the Archdiocese of Cologne in Germany in the Department Universal Church and Dialogue as the director of this department, and I would like to convey greetings from our Archbishop Rainer Kardinal Wölki. It is truly a privilege to work for the Universal Church and to have the honor of participating in the Secam General Assembly. The Archdiocese of Cologne is known as a partner of the Universal Church, and I'm happy to participate in this assembly for the first time and to meet all of you. The Second Vatican Council made it clear that the Church is a family and that all bishops are responsible not only for their own diocese, but together for the Universal Church. The Archdiocese of Cologne therefore has the Department of the Universal Church and Dialogue to maintain the dialogue with the churches around the world. We are a family in faith. The members of a family help each other. They share the spirit of closeness. The Church in Germany can help with financial resources. The Church in Africa helps us with priests and sisters who work in our dioceses. Many religious congregations pray for our Church in Germany. As a Catholic family, we are united in prayer. Prayer can help to strengthen family togetherness. The theme of the 20th Plenary Assembly is Christ, source of hope, reconciliation, and peace. The vision of the Church family of God in Africa for the next 25 years. Pope Francis underlines in his encyclical Laudato Si how inseparable the connection is between caring for nature, justice for the poor, commitment to society, and inner peace. In many countries in Africa, the Catholic Church has a firm place in society. The Church has an important role to play in this year of hope. People often trust the Church rather than the governments. This is quite different in Europe and in the so-called West. In Africa, the Catholic Church is still able to take a leading position. We should use this position and develop visions on the theme of Laudato Si. Protecting God's creation, nurturing for our common home is a purely Christian task, which also leads to justice and peace. I wonder if we as the Catholic Church could be leaders in restoring the environment. I believe that we can here in Africa. Therefore, I would like to address the issue of alternative energy and hydrogen. A hydrogen society is seen by many as the most promising vision for the future. Catholic universities in Africa, such as CYANGWA, could become research centers that will contribute significantly to the realization of this society. Hydrogen energy is often described as born from water and returning to water. This means that electricity is first used to break down water, which is later recovered when the hydrogen releases energy during combustion. Hydrogen is clean or green only if the electricity used comes from renewable energy. It would therefore be ideal if the electricity used for decomposing water could be provided by solar or wind power. The Archdiocese of Cologne has relationships with many of your dioceses, and we are eager to nurture this partnership. We offer to consider together how we might proceed. With some bishops, we have already discussed the idea of installing solar farms to generate energy and save costs that you pay to the power grid. In view of declining income, we are looking for alternatives using our fund on a rotating basis for projects. For some time now, we have been working with an agency to help our partners reduce expenditure and generate income. This way, they can make repayments independently and support those in need. We started with projects in Kenya and Rwanda. We provided partners with solar energy solutions to empower them through sustainability. The money saved for electricity bills is returned into a revolving fund, which our partner agency has opened in Kenya. With the returned money, we are able to fund new projects in Africa. By supporting church institutions in the Global South with sustainable projects, we strengthen their ability to make a positive contribution to the environment and society and secure their pastoral work in the long term. Today, I would just like to leave it as an idea which we can develop together. It is not new not only for you as bishops from Secam, it is also a new idea for us. But hasn't the church in the past and in some parts of the world also today be leading? Wasn't it the church which was better developed and had modern ideas? Until today, people prefer that their children attend Catholic schools and universities, prefer to go to a Catholic hospital, and prefer that the bishops take leading positions in society. I believe it is now the time for the Church in Africa to take a leading position concerning the protection of the creation, and therefore has to go also into sustainability, renewable energy, and hydrogen. Anyone who has visited Cologne and our cathedral knows that the relics of the Magi are in our cathedral. The Magi were the first pilgrims. Magi, or kings, they were important people who came from far away, the legend says, from Africa, Asia, and Europe, to worship a little child. The Magi are a symbol of our universal church and remind us to stand together, not to be afraid, and to be humble enough to worship a poor little baby. Let us be humble, but at the same time also creative. I wish this assembly a successful meeting, fruitful exchanges, rich encounters, and God's blessings. Before I end, I have to mention a rather difficult issue. Since some time, there are people who use our email in a different way than which it should be used, and are asking partners to resend project applications or reports. And when you see at the address, they change just 2 letters, the E and the O, or they add one, like in Erzbistum, which can hardly be seen, and very often they ask our partners to return money. We never ask our partners to return money. So we kindly ask you to take care when you receive emails, and we have written to all bishops' conferences and asked the Secretary Generals to inform all bishops about this, because this is very, very serious. I think that many of you already received those emails asking for reports which had already been delivered to us, and also asked to send money. And I know that some of our partners have lost money by this way. So therefore I wanted to mention it here. It's very important that you take care of the email which you received, if it's from us or if it's some people who use a different kind of email address. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Nadim. Thank you. So, Misio Belgium, Father Theogeny.
Thank you very much, Eminencies, Excellencies, dear everyone, good evening. I'm speaking on behalf of Missio Belgium. Theogene Havugimana, National Director of Missio Belgium for almost 4 years now. My talk is divided into 4 points. First, 5 years ago, the late Pope Francis began his final general audience address of 2020, saying, "Let us not forget to thank." With this habit of saying thank you, we transmit a bit of hope. Thank you very much for your invitation. Allow me to take this opportunity to thank Secam for its vital contribution to the pastoral renewal of the church in Africa. This is, to use Pope John Paul II's expression, a continent whose shadows and challenges are countless, but whose resilience continues to keep it on the path of mission. The launching of Secam was seen as a true blessing, a moment of grace, a kairos for the church in Africa to keep carrying out its mission. The promotion and support of such symposium guarantee a unity of voices of the ecclesial communities on this continent. As Misio Belgium, we would like to express our gratitude and our support for this shared mission. We know the situation is rapidly changing. Donations are decreasing. That is a fact. But solidarity becomes more and more stronger. Second, as Misio Belgium, we set up bridges between the ecclesial communities in Belgium and those all over the world. We focus on fostering understanding, collaboration, and shared goals. This involves creating opportunities, interaction, and solidarity through joint projects, educational programs, and community events that encourage active participation from both our communities. We work together with several dioceses across the continent of Africa, inspired by the missionary spirit that animated the first missionaries who brought the gospel to Africa. We do everything in our reach to honor their legacy by contributing to a future where all communities, even those somehow forgotten in the remote areas of this continent, can receive the good news. We work together to shape a future where Christ can find his home in every corner of this continent. A future where faith in Christ will be a source of joy, hope, reconciliation, and peace for everyone. A future where the church in Africa will be able to strengthen its autonomy and self-reliance on many levels, and as a result, the church in Africa will be able to respond to the missionary needs of the other continents. The church in Africa is a missionary church. Thus said Pope John Paul II, that means a church of mission which itself becomes missionary. The contribution of African missionaries within and outside of Africa, in Europe and North America, for instance, speaks for itself. It is time for the church in Africa to stand up and be proud of such great contribution to the rest of the universal church, and to reshape the classic understanding of Missio ad gentes. Third, the church's missionary activity in Africa faces many challenges, ranging from health and security issues to cultural, religious, and political complexities. Think of conflicts in several corners of this continent. Think of the challenges of evangelization. Think of the financial issues which slow down the missionary endeavor of the church's commitment to the most disadvantaged. The ability to adapt and to find solutions to these challenges, to establish lasting relationships with local communities is essential for the church in Africa to succeed in its mission. This is where Misio Belgium continuously commits itself to lending a hand. Instead of dwelling on the challenges, we see those challenges as opportunities for missionary growth and development, facing those challenges together as a universal family. Help our communities in Belgium and the communities here in Africa to learn from each other, to grow stronger, to become more resilient. Fourth, driven by our faith, our commitment to proclaim and to promote the culture of solidarity, we see our mission as a humble contribution to the evangelization of this continent. Without mission, there is no church. The church exists by mission. Taking into account the needs of particular churches and the Lord's command to support one another, prayer and solidarity remain at the heart of our commitment. We promote solidarity as the first Christians did. They put everything together to care for the most needy among them. Let me conclude by thanking every one of you and your communities and for your constant support and collaboration on our different projects. Several ecclesial communities, dioceses, parishes benefit from this mutual solidarity rooted in faith that unites us and keeps us together on this path of mission. From Ziguinchor in Senegal, from Tambacounda, Sikasso in Mali, to the Horn of Africa in Somalia and Djibouti, via Kumbo, Bafoussam, and Bafia in Cameroon, from Tunisia to Cape Town and Bloemfontein in South Africa, via Tomborayambio in South Sudan, Mwanza and Tabora in Tanzania. All those communities have benefited from this solidarity, and we are united in our prayer. This mission of Christ in which we participate is not a mission to be accomplished. It's a mission to be lived, hand in hand. And thanks to the initiatives such as this symposium, it's a mission to be passed over to the future generations. May the Holy Spirit keep us on the path of hope. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Father.